Back as we start the weekend. It's Friday, right? So everyone's just a little bit happier. I'm a little bit happier. I know, like, I work 7 days a week a lot, but I'm happy it's Friday because the dirge through the week catches up with you anyway. We're happy that everybody else is here as well, and we'll let go of a few things. We've got a ton of stuff to get to. Welcome to the program. My name is Dean. That is Lochlin Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton, at Lochlin Cross on Twitter. What's up? That is Army Chris, 25-year combat veteran, host of Fire for Effect, wonderful military podcast. And, of course, Chris has been around all week to kind of give us sit reps on the situation. Sit rep. I like those words now. I'm a big Army word guy. Sit rep. Fast air. Sit reps. Anyway, it's getting worse and worse. Facebook was turned off today. Media's getting arrested and fucking thrown in jail. It is bizarre. So we'll kind of that stuff and as it pertains to this country and our efforts. So Chris is here, and of course, from the Movie Men podcast, and my friend and the guy that works here with us. You may have seen him at DeanBlundell.com. Please welcome Brady. How do you say your last name? Alashuskas? Is that how I say it?
I say it better than most people. Yeah.
Alashuskas. How do you say it?
Alashuskas.
Alashuskas. Brady Alashuskas. It's his maiden voyage on the program. Nice to see you, Brady. Really good to see you. Alashuskas, Brady. So it's like he's like not an intern, but he's doing a co-op with us, and he's like, if you can get a kid who's as smart as Brady to work for you, do it. Do it. Look past the chest hair. Look past the fact that he's not wearing a shirt. Look past whatever it is that he just drank. I don't even know what's in the drink. It could be bad.
I was going to say, before we go any further, I think I'm legally obligated, based on the email chain that I had this morning, to show you that I'm drinking a Coca-Cola.
Thank you.
And that Coca-Cola is excellent. You should only... No, I'm just kidding. Coke's not going to sponsor me.
No, they don't sponsor us either, but that's all right. Anyway, good to have you here, Brady, and lots to get to today. We've got, of course, Krista Ford to get to. Randy Hillier quit politics. Pretty sure we did that to him. We've got Ukraine to get to in just a minute as well, and some Jesus stuff, because I'm really excited about the Jesus stuff today. But I want to start here, Locke. This is bad news. I don't know if you saw this, but if you're not vaccinated, which you are, you stand a significantly. Yeah, you got 3 of them. You might even have a 4th soon, right? You're thinking of getting a 4th. Thinking of going for number 4? Thinking of getting the boost.
We were talking about the possibility of that. The wife and I. We just had to look into. We have to figure out the dates, because you're supposed to wait. You're supposed to wait a bit, right? You're supposed to wait 4 months or something.
Yeah.
After the last one. And I think this year I'm going to at least one more booster for sure.
I want to get all of them. Like, to me, they're like trading cards.
Yeah.
And I'm missing 2.
You're only single vaxxed?
No, I'm triple vaxxed, but I got one the 95 Dodge Neon of vaccines, the
AstraZeneca. Yeah, the Dodge
I got 2
Neon.
Pfizers. I need the J&J.
Yeah.
And once this Russian shit's worked out, I'm gonna go get the Sputnik. So
Sputnik. Yeah. Actually, the irony of it is apparently the Sputnik was pretty good.
No, I heard it was shit.
I heard it worked well. There was doctors.
If it's anything like the fucking army they're sending into the Ukraine, it's probably not so good, but we'll come to that.
Yeah. Why don't we start there? I mean, Army Chris, Fire for Effect podcast, 25-year combat veteran, munitions expert. Things have picked up. I mean, yesterday they were bombing the biggest nuclear facility in all of Europe. Russia took that over at gunpoint. Did you guys see that? The guys that own the power plant are like, our guys are still working, but they're working at gunpoint. Just want to let everybody in the world know. So that happened yesterday. They're totaling cities. I mean, they're totaling a couple of cities in the south, and it looks like they're completely stuck in the north. I'm talking about, obviously, the Russian creeps. Not only are they totaling the city, but we'll get to it in a minute. I mean, the cost of information, the cost of actually not just the human life, but what's happening now in Russia. We'll get to that. The media blackout, the arrests, the executions that might start happening, sending literally journalists to the front lines if they say a bad word about Russia. I mean, that is not how a country acts, Chris.
No.
When they're not at war.
That's how a desperate dictator acts.
Yeah.
They're doing some weird stuff. Like, I heard that, BBC pulled out right?
Yeah.
If you say anything anti-Russian in the press, you could serve 5 years in prison. And then the other thing they were doing was, I was reading this morning, they're like they'll run in, they'll bomb the shit out of a place, then send like a truck in with bread and make it look like it's the humanitarian effort that Putin wants the world to believe, or at least his own people to believe, is what they're doing to the Ukraine. They're moving in to save them, right? So they bomb the shit out of it, and then they pay people to walk up to the truck to get bread and things like that, right? So,
Yeah, it's fucked. I mean, what is that, Chris? Like, is that like a psyops thing? Is that something that a lot of communities have done? I know the United States did that when they went to Afghanistan. They're like, hey, let's just bomb the shit out of the place and then walk around with bread and food and water and say, oh, we're good guys.
100% a psyops campaign, but I mean, it's not a conventional way that psyops are done. You don't bomb the fuck out of people and think they don't know you did and then show up and go, hey, would you like a fucking hoagie? It doesn't quite, no.
Is it hoagies though? I mean, because that's forgivable then.
I'll tell you what, man, I've been to Eastern Europe and you get raw bacon sandwiches and they're a bit weird. Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing, everything I thought that Russia was going to do is not quite doctrinally what's happening. So it's actually, I've told you guys from we've been doing this for what, a week and a half, Dean?
Yeah.
How I think it was progressing, and some of what I've said has come to fruition, in fact. And a lot of shit is like, what the fuck, man?
Like what? What's bothering you? Like, because the things that I've seen are fucked. Like attacking the power plant yesterday was fucked.
Let's start there. That's the dumbest. Like, okay, so
is that a war move? Like I'm no fucking special ops guy, but
fucking move. I'll kind of get into how that's happening when we start talking about air superiority and the lack thereof. But if I'm Zelensky, even though like he should have knew war was coming when Putin unfriended him on Facebook. Like that should have been the first fucking indicator right there. I'd be calling him going, you know what? I get we're going to keep war fighting. I get we're going to keep going to the table and hitting a stalemate. But don't fuck with nuclear power plants because it'll wipe out most of Europe and most of Russia, right? Like don't be fucking with that. So I really hope that whole bit with the nuclear power plant thing is done, because it's Jesus, man, fuck.
Well, that brings up another like situation, like
worse than Chernobyl.
Yeah. It's 10 times bigger or 6 times bigger than Chernobyl is, like as far as how big the plant is.
Fucking devastating.
But like, why did they target it then?
Okay, so we're bouncing around now, but that's okay. So
we just started, so we were like,
yep, we
get into it there. Yeah.
Understand that I'll get into my whole confusion on air superiority later, but the Russian Air Force does not have the same targeting pods in their aircraft that the West does, right? So the bulk of the ordnance is being airdropped, which is why civilian populations are being hit right now that everybody's bitching about. We're more likely intended for actual strategic targets because they just don't have the same. When you watch a video from the Gulf War and you see that little reticle and with a black and white forward-looking infrared screen, it targets this bridge, and a smart bomb comes in and whacks that bridge, boom, like precision bombing. The Russians aren't on the same level. So, and I also think that they blew their load, if you will. Can I say that without?
Yeah, you totally say
good. You understand that Russia had a massive air campaign in Syria prior to this. I know our corporate memory is that of a squirrel these days. So there's a lot of people, a lot of experts are thinking that they might not have the guided smarter munitions left. So they're like, fuck it, we're just going to use unguided or dumb bombs, and which basically means that pilots in a plane, he's got a little ring that roughly puts it on what he thinks is the target, and he drops these 500-pounders or whatever they are, and in they go unguided. So I can't say that nuclear power plant was a target, but that'd be fucking stupid if it was. It would be more like what was adjacent to it that was of more strategic importance and less of a threat if things went sideways. So that's what's going on in my opinion. Again, for the listeners who've been following this for the last week and a half, I'm offering opinion, talking to guys that I've known, and I kind of skim media, but I don't trust media at all. That's what I think. So I know for a fact, they don't have the guidance systems for that the West does. So
part of the destruction that we've seen is just pure fucking incompetence on behalf of the Russian army because they don't have the shit.
That for sure. It's a lack of knowing what they're doing. Wow. Or okay, so let's transcend the conversation. There's a serious issue here with air superiority. Not an issue, but this is what fucking baffles my brain. Is by this stage of the game, somebody should have air superiority. Okay? Now, the Russian military either has or had, depending on, like, statistically, who knows how much shit they lost in Syria.
Yeah.
Around 800 plus fighter aircraft. Okay? The Ukraine, by comparison, has around around 80, 90 at best. Mm-hmm. So that's the variance. So people think, the word on the street, whatever you want to say, the experts, during the initial onslaught, I said that was textbook. They're taking out command and communications, they're taking air defense, they're bombing runways, they're taking airfields, but they didn't get everything, which means the Ukraine has an air capability, and the Russians are like, well, maybe we don't want to commit everything, even though they're like fucking 10-1 bigger.
Okay, so let me ask you this question then, because you bring up a great point, and we wanted to talk about air superiority and why nobody seems to be taking advantage of that. However, I mean, a couple of great points. Rick Love brings one up in the comment section at DeanBlundell.com. Zelensky pleading for planes ASAP. There's a short number of days before Putin goes full Chechnya, full Syria, and air bombs Ukraine. Soft targets first, children's hospitals, schools. We've seen that. I mean, lots of videos of schools and hospitals just getting fucking fisted by the Russian army and their Navy capability from the sea. And, of course, from these, positions that they have outside of certain towns. So having said that, I know 2 days ago, there's a massive explosion just above Kyiv, and it was an anti-aircraft missile that hit an incoming missile that scared the shit out of everybody. I know they're still getting bombed. But so they do have something to combat that. But to your point, where are the planes if Ukrainian fighters? Because there are Ukrainian fighter pilots that are legitimately fighting every day, including this Ghost of Kyiv. Great story. Dude got shot down after his 10th kill, parachuted down to the ground, got picked up, and then took off and got in another plane and started fucking fighting again. I mean, there are great stories that are coming out of it, but why is there no air superiority? And where's the rest of the world? And I know it's not just Russia that's got planes, but I know England's got planes. I know England also sent artillery and missile systems that just arrived in Ukraine today. So I know that they're going to get some help. But is it a foregone conclusion that this turns into just a massive bombing attack by Russia? And if that does happen, is there any chance any other country, specifically in Europe, like a NATO country in Europe, gets involved to some extent, or no?
No, there's no scenario where NATO is involved in this thing. Yet. What
about, so Zelensky yesterday was like, can we borrow some planes from certain countries for this?
Well, okay, that's easy to say, but you can't take an F-16 from the United States and throw a Ukrainian pilot in it. He doesn't understand the avionics. I'm not a pilot. Fuck, get a pilot on. The only guys that can provide aircraft are former Eastern Bloc countries that fly like aircraft, right? So that are all the Ukrainian Air Force.
What's Arnold doing right now? He fucking hopped in one,
smoking cigars, baby. Yeah, no, that was
right away.
Okay, so that was a Harrier jump jet, which is a Brit, based on the British, and the Americans adopted it. So the only way that they can get additional aircraft is from maybe Slovakia. Sorry, I had a couple beers. Slovakia's Greek.
Slovakia. Delicious meat on a stick.
On. You can edit this out. It really is.
Get it in post.
It has to be based on. like a MiG-31 platform, MiG-29s, Su-27s, whatever the Ukrainians have, so that a pilot can just jump in the fucking thing and take off. But right now, what I'm guessing is, and let's use the convoy from hell as the example, is the anticipated response from the West would be that they would throw all their air assets to take that thing out. And I talked about that last week or a few days ago. And that's not what's happening, which is really nerve-wracking to me. Like, are they really reserving their air assets, which tells me they're depleted. So understand of those 80 plus aircraft, that doesn't mean they're all serviceable and ready to go. Much like the Canadian Air Force, half our F-18s are put together with fucking duct tape and bungee cords. So, you're going to have a lot of these things grounded, being cannibalized for spare parts to keep, say, 60 of those planes in the air. You take away what's been shot down, you're left with a finite amount and a small amount to actually strategically choose what you're going to do. And because you feel you have the lack of air superiority, which is on both sides right now, that's why you're not seeing that fucking convoy should have been wiped out 2 days ago.
You're talking about that 60-mile convoy that's been plugged just north of Kyiv. Great story about that. Apparently, all those vehicles sat for like a year. And I read a great article where like an army dude's like, hey, listen, the Russian army didn't rotate the tires. They didn't move the vehicles.
Which are all made in China.
And so all the tires are like exploding because the inside of the walls of the tires, because they weren't moved, are literally dying. Like every vehicle they have, all these tires are exploding.
Yeah,
so
and that
was like, so go ahead.
That's my second point, is like, I've been telling you guys all week that this is the B team, this is the B team, and the A team's coming. And one of our viewers sent me a video today of what the Russian reserve looks like. And he goes, is this better equipment? I went, no, that's still the same shitty fucking 80s, 90s equipment that they're rolling out.
Maybe there isn't an A team.
I don't, you know what? I honestly think, so first of all, for everybody understands, Russia is the biggest country in the world. Maybe Putin never thought that there'd be a viable military threat from the West. So he put all of his assets on the North Korean Chinese border, all of his A-team players, all of his T-72Bs, T-80s, T-90 tanks, all of his kick-ass planes. We're getting into Su-35s, Su-31s, whatever the fuck they are, the better planes. Yeah. And it's going to take them a long time to get all that shit across the country to reinforce this fucking marginal effort. And I don't mean to marginalize that statement at the cost of human life in Ukraine. However, what I'm seeing, so when I said I think it's the B team and the A team's coming, now I'm looking at my watch going, where the fuck's this A team? Because it should be there by now, and I'm not seeing it.
What do you know about the assassination attempts? Those are fucking three stories that came out of. Did you hear about this? How the Russian army sent like 3 different sorties of like assassins to kill Zelensky? Did you hear about this? And each time they got within like 10 square miles of him, they all got murdered.
Yeah, that, who knows if that's factual or a combination of fact and fiction, but that'll certainly be. See, I don't know why you would do that. Like, that's just stupid, because all you're gonna do is murder the guy.
Yeah,
like there's no tactical advantage to taking that guy out.
And one of the story about how the Ukrainians are finding out about these assassins is that, like, apparently all the guys around Putin are like, this is fucking ridiculous, dude. You can't do this shit. And so they're sending messages to the Ukraine saying, here's where we're going to be. Here's who's coming after you. Here's what's going on, which has got to be comforting, right? Like, it's comforting to know that that's coming from the inside.
I believe that Putin fucked up, and he has way overestimated what his successes were going to be.
Think he gets taken out?
Failed. Well, okay. So there is the question. I said
from
this
the inside
around beers with a bunch of people, and I think I might have said it a couple days ago. The fastest way this ends equitably for everybody is that his own people take him out of play.
Well, and I think that's part of the reason why the strategy to continue with the sanctions. And I mean, we read a story about the cat showing federation is banning everyone. If you're Russian, you're not involved in anything. You can't even show your fucking cats.
Dude, you know how bad it is? They canceled visa passports, work visas in North America for all Russians.
Hammer
That includes, by the way, Ovechkin. And quick story about Ovechkin tonight at the Caps game: you cannot bring a Ukrainian flag or a Russian flag in. They are banning any support for anything to do with any of this because Ovechkin. Yeah, it's fucking bizarre. So that just happened. Not only did that,
Ovechkin has bodyguards.
Oh, without question. Not only did that just happen. Yeah, he may. I heard that today too. But this is just in. Russia banned Facebook today, like about an hour ago, and all independent media. 15-year jail sentence for saying anything negative about Putin or the war invasion of Ukraine. Dissenters will be either jailed, executed, and this one was fucked, or sent to the front lines in Ukraine. So this martial law across Russia begins tonight. Listen, if you're not thankful to live in this country at this point, you're fucked.
Yeah. So, Dean, that plays into what I just said. When were we on last? 48 hours ago when I was on?
Yeah.
And I was talking about let social media flow into Russia so they learn what's going on.
Well, and Facebook didn't cancel it.
Exactly. And now he's freaking out because all of his people that he had under his media thumb with state-provided media and his messaging are figuring out what the fuck's actually happening. So he's shutting it down. Like he's panicking. He is fucking panicking because he's fearing that the people are going to rise up and go, fuck you, man, you're done.
Martial law has a lot to do with the protests. And I was saying this morning, say what you will about this about this conflict right now. You have to have a bit of respect for somebody in Russia that has the courage to protest.
They're risking their lives.
Yeah,
they're risking their lives.
If you protest in Russia as of tonight, which I don't know what time it is, but they're passing at the Doha, passed it at like midnight. Like I said, if you protest, you get shot. Executed is the word they're using. Yeah. Executed, jailed for 15 years if you don't get executed. And if they really fucking hate your guts, they send you to the front lines with your hands duct taped to a wooden gun and send you into the woods.
And that's the beginning of the end. This is you were going to see a fucking revolution in Russia over this.
Yeah. And again, I think they still need to be creative here, people. How else can we, and again, it sounds awful to say it, because there's innocent people in Russia, and Russians are dealing with the fact that they've got a president I came up with an idea this morning. I talked about it. I think, honestly, anybody who runs a country, it should be an international rule. You have to go into a back room and you have to show your penis. And if it's small, you don't get Putin would not be running the country. This is all small dick shit. All of it, and I think that's what we need to do moving forward. You got to have an average size hog on you if you're going to run a country.
Same as Trump, small hands. Just saying.
Yeah, small hands, small dick, fucking all ego, right? These small dick fucking pricks are the ones that get us into trouble. This is what's going on right here.
Yeah. I've only met a few legit Russians in my life. Very few. And one of them, I had the privilege to train NASA astronauts for 2 years, 2000, 2001 in Cold Lake, Alberta, in preparation for the International Space Station. So this is 2001. And one of these dudes was a Russian guy, and he brought a bottle of legit Russian vodka, which you can't get anymore. And I'm looking at this guy going, fuck, man, you used to be the enemy. But you know what? They're just people. And just people are going to get sick of a fucking tyrant.
Yeah,
they're realizing that the world is turning against them, despite the lack of support from NATO that the Ukraine is getting. But there's reasons behind that, and they will rise up. It's coming. It's fucking coming.
Well, I look forward to it.
The head of the Russian Soccer Federation made a statement today saying, I don't agree with the conflict. But I'm still proud to be Russian, and I don't understand why you're taking it out on the athletes. Guess what, buddy? You're talking to the wrong fucking group of people.
You know
what? Go talk to Putin. Go talk to somebody that can deal with
force the issue. Take your guy off the map. Take your guy off the map and we'll talk.
Mhm.
And I feel bad
It's
for
gonna
these young kids. I feel bad for these young athletes that, they
Yeah,
have
they train their
nothing
whole
to do with
lives.
it.
You know,
Right?
I was listening to an interview yesterday with this Ukrainian-born hockey agent named Dan Milstein, and he was going on and 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 on about how unfair these sanctions were because the import draft is not going to happen for Russians and Belarusian athletes, right? Like 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. And I'm listening to this guy like justify it while and he's Ukrainian-born, lived in Ukraine for 16 years, like thick Ukrainian accent. He represents a ton of Russian, Belarusian, Ukrainian hockey players. And he was like, I think this is ridiculous. And I'm like, of course you do, because it's tied to your fucking paycheck. Like, when you hit these guys, we have a chance as an international community to legitimately take all their legs out from underneath them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who it is. And I'm on that side of this equation because I do, and I agree with what Chris is saying. What Chris is saying is that free-flowing information should be coming into the country so that people can see what's really going on.
Yeah.
And I totally see the panic in a move where a guy says, if anybody says the word, because these are the two fucking things that Putin said. You say these two words, 15 years in jail, front lines, or execution if you're a media outlet. This just happened today. And they just shut down Facebook. And they're blocking Twitter as well. But what he basically said is, by blocking, is like, if you say the word war or invasion, or you make Russia look bad, or Putin, more importantly, look bad at all, while we're murdering innocent fucking Ukrainians for no reason other than Putin's a fucking jackoff, you go to jail or you get murdered. You're right. Tiny dick energy, dude.
I want to know.
Tiny dick energy.
You guys read more news than I do. What are the sanctions against Belarus?
Not as significant.
Not as
They
significant.
fucking should be. Like, they should be, because they are very strategic into. If you look at that battle map, for lack of a better term, Belarus should be getting fucking hammered with sanctions at the same level as Russia. 100%.
That leader in Belarus is closely tied to Putin.
Sure he is. So my concern is, okay, you're hammering Russia with all these, but look at the bulk of the threat to Kiev is all coming out of fucking Belarus. I don't know. Hit them with the same sanctions. Fuck them. They picked a side.
There has been those conversations, Army Chris, that was a missed, like something that they should have done right at the beginning.
Absolutely.
Belarus should have been thrown into the mix now.
Yep.
And then organizations started adding Belarus to the sanctions and the restrictions, and we're not letting your athletes. Can we deal with Brady here?
Yeah, it's time.
I'm sorry.
The white elephant
I'm
in the
getting
room.
more and more awkward.
I'm having a time of my life right now. Like,
Brady Alshauskas.
He hasn't stood up to go for a piss yet. Be happy.
Can I say the fact that the majority of the chat section thinks that I'm a minor means I still fucking got it. Like,
there you go.
Brady is one of us. He works here with us at DeanBlundell.com. He has for a couple of months.
29.
29.
Wow. Okay, you're a young looking 29.
Let me go through some of these comments because
young looking 51, son.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
This
you look every one of your days.
Yeah, you look like you dye your hair, man. Look at this. This is James. He's like, is Brian Singer directing today's show? Because Brady is not wearing a shirt. If you're just joining us, Brady Alshauskas is a guy that works here, and he is not wearing a shirt. But it gets worse than that, and we'll share that with you. But this is just another comment that came in. Say whatever you want. There is a boy with no shirt on the show. Army Chris says, good job, Chris. And then James is back as he goes, is it me or is it a little Polanski in here? Because you do look very young, and you are totally naked, Brady. Is that correct?
I have headphones on. I'm rocking some Sennheisers. Is that? I mean, we've had to, I've worn a mask just like everybody else has, and so there have been times where the debate has been, well, am I really naked? Am I really naked if I'm wearing a mask? But I am what the majority of people would refer to as quite bare. Yes.
Quite bare. Now tell people why you're quite bare, and tell everybody where you're.
A T-shirt that says "Rock out with your cock out," but you wouldn't wear the fucking thing. So
where are you?
So currently I am sitting in a guest room at a naturist resort. And naturist is a term that a lot of people are not going to know. Nudist. So there's a slight difference between naturist and nudist, and
Okay.
I will get into that in a bit. But for lack of a better term, I'm sitting at a nudist camp that I work at seasonally, that I've been a member at for a couple of years now. And yeah, it doesn't make much sense to go to a nudist park and then wear clothing. So
Yeah,
that's why
so
I'm
you're
naked.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
working today.
Is the heat
So
on?
It is, yeah, we keep it pretty toasty in here. I'd say it's probably about 23, 24
thank
degrees.
God, huh?
Okay.
Thank God. It's
Yeah.
more impressive when it's warmer, if you know what I'm saying.
I was in
Right.
the pool.
Oh, it's in the pool. Shrinkage. So you're a nudist, and I've known this for some time.
Yep.
Brady does a ton of work with us in our socials crew. He does a ton of content. He's got a great podcast called the Movie Men Podcast. But when did you become a nudist, and what was the transition from clothed to naked like?
So the abridged or not so abridged version is I became a naturist in the summer of 2019. Yeah, it's been a few years now. And it was a combination of a couple of different things, right? Like as a teenager and young adult, I would spend a lot of my time, in the summer. I'm from a small town. There was a river we would go skinny dipping in. And the majority of the time that was just me as a 17, 18-year-old guy trying to rope some girls together so that I could get a bunch of girls out of their clothes and we could go swimming. As most teenage boys do. And so I became aware of this place.
Successful at that.
I wasn't. No, I became aware of this place. And my girlfriend and I were like, you know what? Let's. It was very much a bucket list thing. Like we decided to come camping for the weekend. So it's an RV park. Like the best way to explain this place is it's an RV park where we just don't wear any clothing. And because of that, there's some stuff that you wouldn't find at typical RV parks. Like we have a hot tub, we have saunas, we have some amenities that are more spa like.
There it is.
Because it just lends itself to sort of the lifestyle. But we came as a bucket list thing, right? Let's go see the crazy naked people.
What, like a couple of years ago? So 2019, you decided to do this? Like you're like, I've always liked the idea of being naked, and you and your girlfriend were feeling a little plucky, a little dangerous one day, and you're like, let's give it a go.
Well, I knew I liked skinny dipping, and really it was more of a bucket list thing. It was a one and done, let's go see the crazy naked people. Let's have one hell of a story to tell moving down the road, right?
I would like to be the first to ask the obvious question.
Yeah, what's up?
So you're there with
As
your
he takes a
girlfriend.
drink.
I thought you were going to ask, full disclosure, I thought you were about to ask me if I was circumcised. I thought that's where this was
No,
going.
that's actually not
I thought
it.
that was the obvious question.
You're
but-
there with your girlfriend, who's obviously a naturist. Is that the term we're using?
She is now, yeah, for sure. But
Okay,
at the time,
so-
neither of us were.
You're walking around. There's other chicks there. Like, are you getting the old fucking French riot baton going?
No. So what's interesting is
No, I
it's-
would. That's why I could never do what you do. I'd be
See,
walking
so that's-
around on high alert.
that's-
I'd be walking around with a boner the whole time too.
that is the number one concern, obviously, with any guy that's gonna try this. And you know
My
what?
only question.
It doesn't happen
Just
very
tapping out
often
for the
at
rest of the
all.
chat.
It doesn't happen very often at all for a couple of obvious reasons.
What are the
one
obvious
being
reasons?
The
you have
chicks are
such a-
probably gross.
you have such a fear of it happening that it doesn't.
Yeah.
No,
The
I
other-
wouldn't have that.
That's not going to work.
The other
All right,
being
Fear's not going to keep her
Let
down.
him finish. Let him
The other
finish. I
being
want to
that
know
you-
more.
the other being that you very, very quickly start to realize that, like, one of the reasons why we think nudity or social nudity, nudism is so strange is because of this, like, hypersexualized society that we live in. Sex sells. It's every time there's nudity in a film, 9 times out of 10 they start doing each other. And that's what society has taught us. Society has taught us that nudity itself is inherently sexual. Well, there's a lot of things that we do when we're naked that are not at all sexy and aren't
Right.
sexual things.
I know, like opening up a jar of pickles.
Yeah,
Not
right.
sexy, but I can't
And
do it with clothes on.
Exactly.
Cooking
right?
bacon.
So what's funny about so I'll talk about the bacon thing in a second. But yeah, you know what? It as soon as when you get into a place like this, and there's a lot of other people who are here and are obviously very comfortable in their skin, that connection in your brain between nudity being inherently sexual, that gets torn down very, very quickly. And this is something that you won't ever believe this if someone tells you this. It's just something you kind of have to experience. But really, honestly, within the first 24 hours, you start to forget that you're not wearing anything. That goes away.
Seriously.
All right.
That goes away.
So what do you guys do for activities? Like,
Yeah.
Hang on, before we get to volleyball naked. Sorry, Chris. Before we get to nude shuffleboard and making s'mores with your dick hole, I want to go down this road.
Doing any sport.
So you get to the
My
nudist
balls would
resort
kill
with
a
your
man.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
And when you get there, is like when you come in and you're like, hey, I'm here for the weekend, made a reservation. Do they make you take your clothes off? Is it clothing optional, or is it like clothing mandatory? Like you can't wear anything because then all of a sudden
That's a
everybody
good
else is gonna feel like
question.
shit. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So good. That's a good question, and
Thank
I'm gonna start and give it a little bit of background. This will be a good time to talk about the difference between nudist and naturist. So nudist and naturist is sort of a regional thing around the world. Nudist is more of an American term, whereas naturism is more of a European term. But for a lot of people in more recent years, there's sort of become a bigger difference between the two. So to a lot of people, a nudist is someone who enjoys being naked, right? So they'll go to a nude beach.
I'm a nudist.
They like swimming naked. They spend the majority of their time naked. And with nudism, it is very much about being naked. I mean, nude is in the title. With naturism is a little bit different. So naturism,
nude outside.
So naturism is it's a set of ethics. It's a set of morals. So naturism.
Are you guys like the more elite nudists? Like the naturists?
No,
Sounds
I
very
would-
elite.
I wouldn't say so. So naturism is
Bigger
about
hogs than the
respect-
nudists?
respect for yourself.
Yeah.
And an acceptance of yourself. Respect and acceptance for others, and respect and acceptance for the environment, for nature. And nudity is
That's pretty
So
close to
naturism
my
isn't a-
plan to fix the world.
naturism isn't about nudity.
It is.
Nudity is just our most valuable tool in achieving a lot of those things, right? So when you get dressed in the morning, you look at the clothing that you have in your wardrobe, whether you're going to work, you're doing whatever.
Yeah.
You put the clothing that you put on for a couple of different reasons. One might be a practical reason. You know what? It's fucking cold outside. Yeah.
You get frostbite on your dinger.
Yeah, I'm going to put long sleeves
Don't
on.
want
I'm
that.
going to wear an extra layer. I'm going to put a coat on. Absolutely. But also you choose the clothing that you choose because you like what it says about you.
Right.
Because you like how it makes you look, you like how it makes you feel, and that's why you're like, I wouldn't wear that. That's not my style. That just means you don't like the image that projects of you.
Right.
Well, the problem with that is that's a fake image, right? It like anything that the only way to be 100% authentically you and present the most authentic version of yourself is to remove that artificial layer, right? And so how can you
Brady,
fully
I hate
respect
to interrupt you.
Yeah,
How
no,
long
no, you
did
don't.
it talk? How long did it take you to talk to your wife or girlfriend into this shit? Like honestly,
She realized pretty quickly that I was going with or without her, and so
So she's-
Wow.
she's like, "All right, I'll strip down and just keep going."
she's
So-
like, yeah, so
I'm going to structure this question nicely. Dispel the
Why
myth.
start now?
No, Locke will like this. Dispel the myth, because I know me and Lochlin, our assumption is that everybody's banging everybody every night.
At those
Dispel the
resorts, you
myth.
mean?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, is there any
Because
swinging? Is there any
there-
swinging?
there's- like, because in my mind, Brady, this ends in a fucking giant orgy,
Yeah, me
So-
too.
Yeah.
right? So dispel the myth, because that's my assumption right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So I'll say two things, and the first one is going to open a whole bunch more questions. So I'm going to say
Oh,
it, and I'm,
good.
The answer is
and I'm-
yes.
and I'm going to move past it very quickly so that I
Well,
can
I
get the
doubt
second point out.
All right.
Point number one is this is a family campground. So there are people of all ages here. So orgies on the front lawn with young people around wouldn't make sense.
Hands up if you're a little if your belief system is being challenged by the idea that they're like a full family nudist resort. Anybody?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
But
Just
I'll
saying.
hear you.
I'm
I'll
just
hear
saying.
you out.
I want to
absolutely.
hear you out. Explain
Yep.
it. Yeah.
Yep. But I'll say the second thing I would say to that is, are there naturists who are swingers? Sure. Are there non-naturists who are swingers?
Probably more.
Sure. Are there doctors who are swingers? Are there? So I mean, is the answer to that question yes? Well, sure. Yeah. There's naturist swingers, but it's very much like, just like anywhere else in the world, a regular campground. What you do in your tent, what happens in your trailer behind closed doors, that's your business.
Yeah.
But sex or swinging isn't a
The purpose
naturist
of you
activity.
going, yeah, it's not like
It's not a naturist activity, right? It's
There you
like
go.
saying, are there people here who shoot heroin? I don't know. There could be. Probably. There's all kinds of people.
He just
Right?
drinks.
You don't do
But-
heroin anymore, just the drinking.
No, but do you know what
No,
I mean? There could be,
okay.
or it's anything. Are there people here who play the piano? Well, yeah, sure there
With
are.
Their
their
penis.
dicks.
Do you guys have security and shit there? Like,
Yeah, so we have.
and are they naked? Because it
so-
feels like they can't do their job effectively if they are.
Yeah, that's a great question. Is everyone naked? Like from the security dude? I just picture Randy from the Trailer Park Boys. That's it. From the security dude to like the camp counselor. Dude, well, here's a picture. This is a picture
Right.
that was in the I think it was in the local newspaper, Toronto Star, this last August. There's you.
Yeah. Yep.
Brady Alashowskis enjoys a
sitting,
pint of
enjoying-
beer, and you
enjoying a
got your
beer.
leg up and your balls and stuff. For I'm assuming
Well
resting
tanned.
on that iron chair.
Well, I'm
Um,
sitting on a towel. You can't see it there, but so that's an important thing. We always sit on towels.
Well, yeah, especially if it's
Strong
hot
move.
out and you've got wrought iron chairs all over the place.
Well, and it's
Strong
just a
Hygiene. Thing.
hygiene thing.
Well,
know?
speaking of hygiene things, the lady mixing a Caesar salad totally naked in the kitchen.
Yep,
Are people making food naked at the
Sure.
resort as well? Yeah,
absolutely. Because that's the thing. Like
no
here-
issues with that, huh? Like
Well, 'cause-
zero.
Because here's the thing: if you went to a naturist park, what would you expect the staff to be wearing? What would
Well,
you
in the
expect-
kitchen, I'd expect them to be wearing pants. Like,
Well, typically you'll see there's someone in the back there who has an apron on. So typically you'll see.
Well, she's
that.
putting in an effort.
But no,
wow.
I mean, so here's the thing too. So I want to get back to the question about are we all naked? Because that
Yeah.
kind of covers this yeah. But I would argue, we think about certain regions of our body, right? You think about your groin and you're like, oh, it's this sweaty, kind of gross smelling area. And it's just like, it's not super
Wow.
hygienic.
I don't know what groins you've been smelling lately.
Yeah,
but
no,
mine
mine's
smells
good, buddy.
pretty good.
But
If you
So,
get
but
into
you-
my taint area, there might
But-
be some issues, but
Yeah,
like,
Lochlin,
the overall,
yeah.
But you typically think
you'd
of your
have to
groin
dig
as
for a
like
bad smell.
this.
You'd have to
unhygienic-
rummage around. Like if you rummage around anywhere
Rummage.
down there, you'll be able to
Rummage
come
is
up
a
with a
really
funk.
good.
Sure,
I'm having
yeah.
a really hard time with this whole conversation.
Anyways,
Brady,
I want to hear
let
what he
me-
has to say. Because
Okay,
Yeah,
so
let him finish.
So, but yeah, we think. I mean, hence the question. There's a question of hygienics for a lot of people when it comes to someone's groin area. Well, I would say a couple of things. I would say, yeah, if I if I spent all day with parts of my body confined inside of layers of clothing, they might start to get sweaty and kind of unhygienic as well. So when you're a naturist, you'll find you shower a lot more because I mean we swim a lot. That's it's a great summer activity. We're in and out of hot tubs. Where there's far less steps involved in us
Mud
showering, so
wrestling.
we may be in and out of the shower more often. But we also just have a lot of airflow, right?
Twist,
So
yeah.
there's just
Yeah,
not a lot of sweaty, like it's and
Brady.
that's the thing, right? Is at the end of the day, because of that stuff, there's no part of my body that isn't just skin. That isn't
You do
just
a lot of
another piece of
maintenance?
skin.
Like, how's she looking?
You
How-
manscape?
Yeah.
I
you
do.
put, like,
Yeah,
a
I
dick-
mean,
do
yeah.
you
But isn't
decorate?
that, dude? Okay, well, hold it. I
Like
was
a
thinking about
bonsai
this
tree
because you were
over the
talking
top of
about being like, yeah, shave a Canadian flag into your mons pubis. Who knows?
So
But no, hang on there, Army Chris. Let me finish this.
I'm struggling.
I have a
with
problem
this.
with the manscaping though, because
Sure.
you're talking about how when you put clothes on, you're not your authentic self. Well, when you shave your bush, you're probably not your authentic self either. So
Well,
Where does that sit?
then I'll stop getting haircuts and I'll throw out my beard trimmer as well.
that's a good
do you
point.
think that the amount of eye contact, which day-to-day society normally has, is different? Like, are you guys checking each other's dingers and shit out, or
I
would
mean,
be, like,
You don't.
constantly.
I
Yeah.
mean, you
'Cause
don't.
I'm
No, come on. Do you like? Yeah,
average, right?
there's a
So
great
if I walk
question.
by with-
It's like a plethora of dicks around you,
There's
and
dicks
every
everywhere,
guy,
right?
yeah, every guy looks like if you're in a change room, you might go, I want to see how I'm doing by serving
Stack
the,
up.
how do I stack up? It's like the dick glance. You're like, how
And
am I
D
doing?
nailed it, right? Because I'm incredibly average, I think. And if some guy walked in with a giant heater hose hanging off of him, well, I'm not
Yeah.
going to feel like quite there, right?
So a couple things. Yeah,
Like,
I
I'm
mean,
not
there's
playing volleyball with that guy.
there's
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
so much to that. One is, yeah, I mean, do you?
Heater hose.
It's weird to stare. It's weird to stare.
Well, not
and-
staring, but
No,
do you rank your dick in the park? Is there
No,
a dick
oh,
ranking
Stack up,
system?
Brady. How you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, because
How you doing?
Yeah,
You
this
don't
guy really want to know
because-
this.
you don't, because so much of like, part of the issue that we have, part of the reason why like I'll sit here and I'll say naturism is about having a healthier mentality, and it's about feeling comfortable in your own skin, and it's about all these things. And just about everyone hears that and they go, that sounds wonderful. But I don't think I could ever do that. And the reason why so many people think, oh, I could never do that, is because they're not comfortable in their own skin, because that's such a terrifying leap to take. And I acknowledge that. Absolutely, it's a terrifying leap to take. And the reason that's terrifying is because media, whether it's magazines or the porn industry or movies or whatever it is, we've come as a group of people to accept this false notion that there is this one center point that represents perfect, and all of us is like orbiting around this center point, varying distances away from that center. And the closer you are to the center, the closer you are to perfect. Well, the problem is, and everyone says, well, nobody's perfect. Well, the problem with saying nobody's perfect, it's true, but the problem with saying nobody's perfect is that it's very easily translated into everybody's flawed. And if everybody's flawed and nobody's perfect, then we're back to that idea that one person, that flaws exist and that one person is better than the other. So yeah, I mean, if you're insecure enough to be bothered by someone who has a larger penis than you, then you might find some discomfort from time to time. You might go, well,
Yes or no? Cock ring.
me personally,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
I'd
Next
totally
question.
I'd be
Next
I'd
question.
have a fluffer. I'd have a cock ring.
So
Is-
so I just wanted to say, so here we are naked pretty much all the time.
Yep.
There are places that are clothing optional. There are places here in Ontario similar to us, but they are clothing optional. The reason we don't do clothing optional is for a couple reasons. One is, if naturism really is about everyone kind of shedding that, like you're not wearing a uniform, right? Cops wear uniforms and lawyers wear suits and all of this stuff because it's an elevated status, right? It gives you status, and it puts you, when the lawyer walks into that room and he's wearing a 3-piece suit and he's standing next to the guy in khakis and a polo, that lawyer is elevated over this guy.
Yeah.
And so the reason why we're all naked is because it's hard for everyone to be on that same playing field if we're not. And another reason, and it's not the reason, but it's kind of an added benefit, is it really, really eliminates anyone who's just coming to gawk, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have to come and get naked,
I'm really
if you're
trying
not
to be mature here. I
Do
don't
you,
know how long I'm
hang
gonna
on,
last,
Lochlin.
team.
It's my turn. Do you
No,
ever
it's
have,
not
like,
actually. Hang on. Because I
Okay.
want to say this. Effectively, everything I've heard you say is in here. I got it. I understand what you're saying about,
Yeah.
getting rid of perceptions and everybody at the same starting point. But that leads me to my next question, which is, and I really do believe this, no way anybody with the small hog decides to become a naturist. No way.
one
That's
of
why I'm
the
asking
with
whether you present well.
one of the things that I think drew me in the most, as far as like I said, I was coming and it was a one and done.
That's nice. That's nice. You're going to be all nice, and you're going to talk about how great the community is, and that's great. Locke asked a question, and I think there's a good answer. You have a heater on you, don't you?
I will say, when it comes to penis size, it really doesn't matter, and Locke would still be welcome.
It matters.
If he wants to come try it.
Come on, man.
You know what? Honestly, here's the thing. Out of the 4 of us out of the 3 of us not naked on this panel right now, I'm the most likely to strip down and show up at this naturalist or whatever camp.
Naturist resort.
Naturist. And I'll make sure your first visit's on the house, Locke. Come on.
Honestly, I swear to God, I could do it. And I am very comfortable in my own skin. I am very comfortable nude. I walk around the house nude all the time. My wife actually sits me down when the kids come home and goes, "Now the kids are coming home. You're going to have to put pants on again."
So are you a nudist?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm a nudist.
You've talked about this for years on the radio. This is no bullshit. This is 100% correct.
I am also very curious about the human body, and I have admitted freely that I would be interested in, like, I quite often will see somebody walk by the window of the control room that I work with and go, "I wonder what that looks like with no clothes on."
Sure.
Right? I am very curious. Like, if somebody said, "Would you like to see Oprah naked?" I'd be like, "Yeah, punch me in."
I wonder.
I am very curious about the human body, and I get everything that you're saying here, Brady, and I do appreciate exactly what you've done. And I think here's what I think we should. This is where we should steer the conversation.
It's maybe the best comment of all time. What's with the naked kid?
He's 29.
He's 29. He's a naturist, and he's at a naturist resort, which is where everybody stays naked. Everybody relax.
For the Dean Blundell podcast.
And he's got a huge he's got a huge fucking hammer on him. I know he does.
For sure he's got a great hog on him.
Brady, for shits and giggles.
No, hang on. Locke's not done asking the question.
Well, I don't know if there was a question coming, but I just want to say, I think we're in a time right now where people are searching. Right. And it's not just 29-year-old Brady at a nudist camp in Northern Ontario. Everybody is looking for something. And I think we've realized that religion is a complete fucking waste of time. And we're trying to find other things in our lives. There's a lot of mental health issues out there. And you know what? Listen, I applaud anybody that finds anything that they can sink their teeth into. And I applaud anybody that finds a community that gives them something as beneficial as what Brady is suggesting this community is giving him. So we can sit here and be dicks all day long. We can sit here and poke fun at this. It's really easy for me. It's really easy for Dean. It's really easy for Army Chris. The 3 of us are chomping at the bit to get in on this conversation with Brady because we just want to be dicks. But good for you. No,
because we love having fun. We love having fun.
We love having fun. We love having fun.
Any conversation.
It is.
Brady, if we go to the Ukraine,
good for you.
if we go to the Ukraine, just you got to wear body armor and a jock strap, buddy.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Good for you. You found your community and you're comfortable in that community, and it means something to you, and it's giving you something that you need right now at this point in your life, and that's fucking all you need. That is
I want to
all
know what that
you
is, though.
need.
I
Chris,
want to know what that is because
Chris,
you
I would be concerned if we went to the Ukraine, someone would look at me and get angry and say, whoa, 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 whoa. Bazookas are bullshit. That's not fair. Fuck that.
Actually, if you went to the Ukraine as a nudist and the bad guys saw you, they'd be like, fuck that shit. We don't touch tips. We're out of here.
Yeah, totally. That's what they do. That's you just run towards them naked.
So,
That's
What do
what
your
Scottish
parents
Army
think, Brady?
I
What do your
wanna
parents think?
Yeah, that's a great question. What do your friends and family think? That's a great question.
Yeah, so great question. And I want to come back and touch on the family thing because it was a question that was asked and then Locke talked about
Good, because after that, I want to get to volleyball.
having to put pants on because of his kids. But so my family, yeah, I mean, I have always been, whether it being pursuing a career in content creation or it being, I've been a DJ since I was 16, or whatever it is. My mom's gotten used to the fact that I don't do, if society and everyone is doing one thing, I'm very much drawn in the other direction. So I don't think this surprised her. I think it took a little bit for her to get used to it. But she's completely fine with it. My friends, I haven't had any negative backlash from friends. I've had several friends who have come and tried it and have gotten memberships because it's very hard. Once you see how fun it is, and once you see...
Please stop using the word hard.
Once you see what a major, massive, engorged... is that...
Veiny.
I like this kid.
Yeah, he's awesome.
No, once you see what a perspective shift you have and how much better you feel about yourself, even after, half a day here, it's very addicting. It's hard not to get a membership. You're like, this is a positive force and I want this.
Did it change your life? You told me
absolutely.
before where you're like, it totally changed my life in so many positive ways
Absolutely.
when people are having mental health issues. And
Absolutely.
had I known that all you had to do to be a happy person is to walk around a campground with your dinger out, I'd fucking
Dean,
done that months ago.
You wear a shirt into the pool.
I do. Dude, this is what I've been thinking in
Brady,
my mind. I want to get to the mental stuff. Hang on,
would
Chris.
check-
I want to get to the mental stuff in a second, but I will say this. I would totally shirt cock it if I went there. I don't think I'd take my shirt off. I would let the wang and everything hang out. I would shirt cock it. Do people shirt cock at nudist resorts? Is that allowed?
Yeah, so what's interesting is we're naturists,
I might go.
we're not dumbasses. So when it gets cold, we layer up. Like if I'm, aside from the obvious, there's a bit of a rush for, you might go from in January, you might go from the hot tub to running around in the snow for a couple of seconds back into the hot tub. But for the most part, if you're out walking around or shoveling your driveway,
Just wanted
or whatever,
to know if shirt cocking would be allowed if I came with Locke.
So on that note, Dean,
So
I have one
descriptive.
question. I promise I won't ask any more.
I think to answer your question, Dean, I think if you were to do it in August
No
and
problem.
it was 30 degrees out, it might be an issue. If it's
you're judgmental. You guys are
if it's
judgmental
late,
people. Then.
if it's late September and it's a little bit
Nipply?
cooler out. So what we do is as naturists, when we layer up, we start with our shirt. And we do that for two reasons. One is because it keeps everyone on the same playing field. Because if you have, if the rule was when you get cold, put on your pants, well, now you have a bunch of shirtless guys walking around and a bunch of shirtless girls. And to a lot of us, that's no big deal because a body is a body and a nipple is a nipple and it really doesn't make a difference.
No.
But if you're newer,
No, I've seen some pretty gross nipples. I gotta
But
tell
if
you.
you're
It's-
if you're
I don't
newer
like
in
big
the
ones. I don't like the
lifestyle,
silver dollar nipples.
if you're newer in the lifestyle or whatever, then societally there is a difference.
All right.
Society has taught us there's a difference between a naked man or a topless man and a topless woman. The other reason we start with a shirt is just a scientific reason that if the reason you're putting a layer on is because you're cold, putting a layer on your torso is going to be more effective, right? You think about the summertime. If you're hanging out in the summer and we're having a campfire,
I have
and
read
it's-
you lose a lot of heat through your cock.
and it's getting a little, well, yeah,
True.
it might depend on the
So
age.
Brady and Dean, I will shut the fuck up after this
All right,
question.
what is it?
No, you're
and then I
not.
want to talk
You
about
will
the family
not.
thing, and then I
There's
want to
one
talk about the
question,
family
and
thing.
I promise I will not ask another one.
Yeah.
Is there always that one guy? Because there's always one guy that shows up with black socks and sandals.
That's not a fucking question. You're not allowed to ask any more fucking questions.
Yeah.
That was you entertaining yourself. Sorry, Brady. Go back.
It's totally entertaining.
Yeah,
No,
totally.
I was So the
I
family
bet
thing.
there is.
So the family thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people, understandably so, like with the society that we live in, a lot of people look at the idea that there are kids and teenagers and young adults and middle-aged adults and seniors and whatever, all here naked, socializing together. They look at that and they go, that's really fucking weird. And that's not appropriate, and that's fucked up, and you're all a bunch of pedophiles. And the reason they think that, really, when you get down to it, the only reason, because there'll be like families here, right? You'll have 17-year-old brother hanging out with 13-year-old sister and mom and dad and whatever. The only way for that to be weird is if it's sexual. If somehow, again, if we're back to nudity somehow being sexual, because if it were sexual, then yeah, that would be weird and it wouldn't be okay. But because it's not sexual, you really have to get your mindset into that point where the nudity isn't sexual, right? You look at you look at someone, if you look at a family member, and if seeing a family member naked is any different than seeing a stranger naked or seeing a friend naked,
it's average. Like I was just actually doing the math on that. It's an average of 100 times grosser seeing your own family member naked.
But the reason is because in your mind, there's that if someone sees you naked or you see someone else naked, that somehow that's sexual, right?
Yeah.
There's this weird, like if you were shopping with a friend and they open the change room and they see you naked and oh God, and they close it, there's going to be tension afterwards.
I'd do the helicopter.
But
I would too.
But the
Have
but
a
the
look at this.
question is why? What harm has been done to you? Right?
Wow, they saw my dinger. I don't want people to look at it.
But so
Yeah,
what?
you know what, Brady? I
Because
think
you
what
have
you're dealing with
insecurity
is
about
you're
it.
dealing
know.
with societal norms, right? You're
Yep,
dealing with this
absolutely.
perception that we have that there is a right and wrong when it comes to nudity. And unfortunately, that's the battle you're going to have to wage for the rest of your life if you're going to keep up with this thing.
I think it's
the same
awesome.
thing- It is. It is
so
awesome.
Much,
But
so much of that is left over from that religion that you were just talking about holds.
yeah,
little
absolutely.
relevance.
And I think as the world progresses in the disintegration of that belief structure, completely, that disintegration continues of that belief structure. I think the better off we are going to be. But all you are doing, Brady, is presenting another form of belief, another belief structure. And you might not necessarily call it a religion, but it could definitely be what you're talking about, how you justify this, how you've rationalized this to friends and family and yourself could easily be connected to a belief structure like religion.
Yeah, sure. And so the reason, sure, of course. Like, I mean, it is a belief system. It's a set of beliefs. It's a set of ethics and morals. The reason, there's a lot of things that differentiate it from religion. But one of the big things is we don't have a deity. We don't worship some naked, there's not like
a cock shrine there.
There's not like a big golden penis that we,
Are you doing it?
that we burn incense
shrine to the
and, like,
testes.
yeah.
Okay, so question. I have a couple questions for you. These are just
Merry
process
Christmas,
questions
man.
about being a nudist.
No,
yeah,
I'm good.
because you said, how's your
So
wipe
exact
game?
history.
Does your wiping game have to be on point, more on point when you're a nudist? Yes or no?
I mean,
Yes.
probably no more than it ever should be, and
So
I'm a
the
little
answer is
concerned
yes.
about your wipe game. But
My white
I would
game's
also
killer. My
I
white
would
game's
also say-
outstanding
Yeah, you
because I
can't
don't
have
want to get that.
Klingons walking
I don't
around
want to
the
get that weird itch, but I'm saying, like, you know, you're going to be out front playing badminton on the lawn at the RV park, and you're going to bend over to pick that up, and it's like, ooh, I better make sure I got it all.
Okay,
right?
so here, I mean, you would.
I got
there's
an
probably
example of a bad wipe game.
there's
Okay.
probably a lot of things about the infrastructure of this place that would surprise people. So one being, we don't have.
You're not
we don't
more.
have-
Hold it. I don't need to know any of that stuff. But like, you don't have any. Like, you're not a little more, pardon the pun, a little more anal about
Aggressive.
your wipe game. Yeah.
No, because
Being a
why?
nudist?
Because if you were, you know, like we don't have all of our washrooms, all of our shower rooms, all of our whatever, everything's co-ed. Because why wouldn't it be? Because it fucking doesn't matter. You're sitting there
Yeah.
eating lunch across from someone naked. You can shower in.
So you take a
big
dump like in
open
a
room.
stall next to a woman too. No problem.
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't have stalls the way, but yeah. I mean, it's just a washroom. But so, if that's the case, and the showers are right there, and you're already naked, and it's 30 plus degrees out and beautiful, and you're
Yeah.
carrying a towel around with you to sit on anyways, then do whatever you need to do. And spend 3 seconds.
I've had lots of poos like that where I need to.
But spend 3 seconds if you're really concerned about it. Spend 3 seconds.
No, I get it.
Under the shower
I'm just,
head, and you're good
no,
to go.
I get it. I'm just asking you, like,
Yeah. No.
like, are you a little more self-conscious about your way? I'm with Locke
I'm not.
too. I've
I'm
had
not.
some experiences where I've had to like literally shower for 3 hours after. So I get it.
I want to soak
next,
that heater.
Yeah, me too. Next question.
Yeah.
Team volleyball. Are you ever like, because this is new for me, this conversation, like you go up for a
This is
spike and there's a guy
fascinating.
next to you, are you going like this? Hey.
Yeah.
So
Like, and you're probably more athletic
Like, have you ever
than
been
some of the other
grazed?
patrons, and if you
Have you
jump
ever
high
been-
enough, your dick's gonna hit that guy in the face.
Have you ever
Get
been
caught in the
grazed?
net.
Have
Yeah.
you ever, exactly? Like that, there are legitimate mechanical concerns that I have for activity day. At
He
the
wants
nudist
to know
resort.
if you've touched tips.
No, I don't.
So I haven't. But so I mean, the volleyball question comes because every time you see nudists depicted anywhere in media, they're all playing volleyball.
Playing ball.
Yeah, and things are like wieners are flying and balls are jiggling and boobs. I would watch that all day just and go, this is incredible. This is awesome. Right there.
And it's true that like if naturism were to have a national sport, if you will, it would be volleyball. Like we play a lot of volleyball. We have 2 major volleyball tournaments here at
Good
the park
bold.
in the
Do you
summer.
really?
With hundreds of attendees. Hundreds of people show up.
Like you go up to you block or you go up
Yeah.
to hit a ball, and all of a sudden, like boom, you might get a dink in the arm. Like, does that? No big deal, I guess, right?
You might also get an arm in the arm, or you might get a knee in the arm.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
it's you know if
Just a
that
body part.
happens, if that happens and the other guy happens to be erect, well
I
then
need to
we
strap
have
mine in.
then
If
we
I'm
have a
playing
question-
volleyball, I'd have to have some form of. Yeah.
Yeah, lock it
For the
between
nuts.
guys out of
Is-
play.
You,
for
you know,
sure.
like when the girls put their hair up when they go play basketball, same thing, right?
So I'm
That's-
just curious because there are people in their 50s and 60s who play volleyball here, and I'm just wondering again because you know it's a give and take with the ribbing here. I'm just wondering if Locke's concern about flopping around is
Oh, yeah.
size or you know
No, I have
age.
I have some
Both.
testicular hanging issues.
okay.
Let's
Got
just
huge
put it
balls.
this way: Brady, on a warm day,
You're scraping the ground. are you?
if it's fairly humid, if I'm on the toilet, I might feel water.
Okay, so they're occasionally they're
Got to
a
be a
tripping hazard.
humid day.
They're
but
a tripping hazard. That's-
I have actually looked into the sack jack, which would be a procedure that would pull the nuts up. Yeah, so that would
I
be
think
a
you just
very
need a piece-
concern.
you just
Any
need-
sort of athletic endeavor with my balls hanging out is
Just
going to
a
be an issue. Like
thin
golf,
strip of
no go.
thin strip of duct tape, and you just pull it up around the back, stick it to your lower back, and I think you'd be good to go. You save yourself a lot of recovery.
Have you seen that there? Is that what people do? They
I didn't know that was actually a thing.
Dude, he
no,
just-
no.
Chris is like, that happens, eh? People
like, he's
duct tape their dicks
describing
to
the
their
actual
asshole.
procedure.
That was
It's
Chris's
mind-boggling.
takeaway. I'm talking about perspective changes and mental health, and
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
is like,
And you
"They're
know what?
really
In all
sticking duct tape
seriousness,
on their
I
balls?"
respect what you're doing. I really do. To have the mental resolve to break social preconceptions and to
That's
be able
part
to
of
do what you're doing makes you a stronger person than most.
Oh, all of us, dude. The guy's a
And you know
fucking
what?
warrior. He's doing
Right?
something that I would never fucking do unless I could shirt cock.
And you know what? As I was driving up to this place for the first time, you know, I thought I was gonna throw up. Like,
Yeah,
I was
walk
just
us
would,
through that
it
day.
was not a case of confidence. It was not a case of, we had driven 2.5 hours from where I was living at the time to get here. And I was like, you know, the GPS said like you're 3 kilometers away. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I can't freaking do this. And then you know what? You pull in. So we've got like an automatic gate at the front, so you have to buzz in.
Ooh, fancy.
We always know everyone who's in the park. Like, if you're in the park, you're signed in. If you're a member, we have like a photocopy of your driver's license. Like, we take security and harassment
Sure.
Yeah.
and knowing
Okay.
who's here very, very, very seriously.
Well, you'd have to, yeah.
Zero tolerance policy. And so, and I was
I actually
terrified.
know why. Is there ever anybody that is? Everybody has that friend that you have to sit down after, you know, knowing him for a certain period of time and go, you really creep women out.
People who
Oh,
are
not
who are
for real.
socially inept, for sure.
Yeah.
Socially inept. And sometimes, and we can, and you know, and there's judgment calls. Like, there are cases where you're like, okay, this person is genuinely an issue, or this person is just socially inept, and they just need to not bother this person anymore, or no, this person needs to leave and not.
That's a great point. How are people vetted that join this? So you don't get creepy.
I imagine
ass fuckers?
there's conversations.
There's gotta be,
behind
right?
the
There's
scenes
gotta
about
be a
it.
vetting process before you just let any yahoo in.
Because a guy
I
like
mean-
Chris could show up and go, "I'm ready to do this," and he could be a total.
No, I'm the
degenerate.
last
Yeah.
guy showing up for this.
I know.
fucking thing.
I mean,
I know.
again,
I can't imagine
so,
what fondue nights look like, but anyway.
yeah, I mean, again, so if you were someone who was coming with the intent of being creepy or causing trouble or whatever,
Yeah.
Some of those guys don't know though. They don't
First of all,
understand
well,
how
sure.
they come off.
Yeah, the
in
socially
social
inept guys
situ-
just look like
Yeah.
creeps, but they're
and then
just
we deal with
socially
them.
ridiculous.
And then we
yeah.
deal with them. But as far as the vetting goes, again, the fact that we're not, you know, you're allowed to take a little bit of time if it's your first time. You're allowed to take a little bit of time in a discreet spot to kind of adjust. You don't need to get naked right away.
You wear a Speedo or something.
But if you've been there for a while, if you've been there for a few hours and you're still wearing something, and you can't, like,
You get
there's
shamed
never
for shaming?
any swimming in with clothing on. There's never any, like, this is literally go find a quiet spot and acclimate. And one of the reasons we allow that is because you'll find if you show up on a busy weekend and you're terrified and you get out of the car, it's your very first time, you get out of the car, you look around and there's 30, 40, 50 nude people just going about their business, enjoying their life. You very, very, very quickly become uncomfortable being clothed. You now stick out like a sore thumb.
This is what I was talking about with the
script
mask thing
flips.
yesterday.
Yeah.
A
The script
lot of
flips.
social situations are going to dictate how we move forward with COVID
Good point.
and the mask, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right? If
Was
everyone in
there-
the restaurant has a mask on,
Here's a
shit,
question.
I'll put a mask on.
That and I believe that's a great question. Were you wearing masks at the nudist resort during COVID?
It's a great question.
Indoors, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, we're and
Bet you that looked cool, huh? Just a bunch of naked people with a surgical mask on.
nice tan lines. No,
Oh, yeah.
and just like everyone else, everywhere else, there were some miserable assholes who resisted. Sure. But you know, for the most part, we're no different than anyone else, with the exception of we have found something that for us allows us to be more confident and comfortable in who we are.
See,
And that's it.
That's the mental health portion that you were talking about.
Right.
That like a lot of
Yeah.
people don't understand is I can be comfortable.
I get it.
I get
I
over
totally get it.
certain things. I
Yeah.
get it too. I just wouldn't
You know,
do it unless I could wear a shirt.
In a place like this, there are There are Christians, there are atheists, there's Muslims, there's racists, there's whatever else. Like it's no different than anywhere else. We're not this different breed.
Out.
Yeah.
So, but as far as vetting, the fact that we make people get naked is quite a vetting process. On top of that, maybe you're a creep who's like, okay, well, yeah, you know what? But I think I'm still okay getting naked and being creepy. The fact that then we're going to photocopy your license and we're well aware of who you are.
That's the process
right? So there's a lot of stuff. We make you sit and watch a 10-minute video your first time,
Oh,
which
yeah,
is kind of talked
orientation.
about.
I'm out. I'm out. All right, if there's a form to fill out or an instructional video, I am fucking
He's gonna
out.
watch a fucking
Even
video.
if you let me shirt cock it, I am not coming if I have to fill out a form or haul out my driver's license and let you take a picture of it. I'm
You guys should
not
have like
interested in that.
workshops.
I'll
or
totally
something.
watch the video. I might be there next weekend.
I'm in.
I want to point out something that I think is really interesting. Like before I started talking about this, the comment section was a lot of like you could just feel this, like there's someone who is showing some skin and I'm
Right?
incredibly uncomfortable with it.
Dude, that
People are
was an
like-
amazing little test because when we said we were going to get to you halfway through the show, we all laughed, and it's like everybody's going to laugh going, why is there a naked guy on the
Naked
screen and
dude.
nobody's
Yeah.
saying a fucking thing? And in the comment
It's like a
section, it
social
has
section.
been a steady stream of WTFs,
What the
and it's
fuck
been
is
fucking
going on?
hilarious. But you're right. I mean, it proves out what you're saying.
And what's
Dean,
funny
Dean,
is
I
that
have a bet I want to propose.
wait. What's funny is as I've been explaining it, and I'm talking about it, I'm talking about the philosophy of it. Yeah, there's still some dill holes in the chat here,
Yeah.
but there's also a lot of people who were saying, "What's with the shirtless boy? What's with the is he? Blink if you need help." That was my favorite. That was my favorite comment. That was amazing. But a lot of those people are now going, "Shit, that sounds great," and I resonate with what he's saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, listen, like, I can't. This is the first time you've been on the show. I can't just let you go on and on about how wonderful it is to be a nudist without asking if you've ever touched another guy's dick playing volleyball or what your wipe game's like. That's just how I am. But
Sure.
the overarching theme of this whole thing is that, dude, you walked into this cool little community of people that you totally get it with, and I think it's fucking great. To what Locke said and what Chris said,
Everyone
none of
needs a
us pass
community.
judgment.
Yeah, man. I think it's
but-
fucking awesome.
But
I
you're
really do.
fucking crazy if you think I'm gonna bring you on the show and not crack about 38
Yeah.
jokes. Like it's
Throw
sorry.
up some of the images I sent you, and I'll just kind of because they kind of drive home
Is this
some
naked
of the
people?
point that I was
Oh,
making.
yeah.
And,
They're all
lot of nudies.
censored because I don't want to tear
That's
down.
Brady in the hot tub with a female.
So that's a friend of mine. So the point of this question, or the point of
Hot
this
tub
picture,
water looks a little creamy though.
the point of this picture is to
Yeah.
drive
Are
home
you
the
guys
fact.
are you guys using the right level of chemicals?
Okay, pictures for what?
The point of this
Listen.
picture is to drive home the fact that that is a friend of mine.
Yeah.
I'm actually friends with her whole family, and I'm, she's close to my age. We're both young, attractive, naked people of the opposite sex, and we've never been involved with each other. We have no interest in being involved with each other. Just because we're sitting there naked with each other
Yeah.
doesn't. All that means is that the quality of our conversation was higher.
You are
like,
wired differently.
I am not
than-
mature enough to
You are
execute a
wired
conversation with that
differently than
woman
me.
while my cock's out.
If I would have a pink periscope coming out of that water right now.
All right.
Anyways, I'm just saying, I'm being honest.
Here's the other picture. This is you with a bunch of your friends. No, I'm
so
kidding.
this
This
is
No,
so this is a lot of people don't know about Hanlon's Point. So Hanlon's Point is a nudist beach or a nude beach on the Toronto Islands.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me. That's my first visit there. Just kind of at that point, that was the first place other than the park that I had ever been to. So I was just kind of like, getting a feel for what is it like everywhere else.
I love how you did the stance so you could get a plenty good look at your heater. I really
The uncensored version of this is a whole nother story. Yeah.
yeah, I
And
know.
this shows how big his dinger is because look how
Yeah.
far those pixels go
There's a
down.
lot of pixelation going on
Right?
there.
It's
Dude,
down to
roughly
your fucking knee.
roughly a third of your body is pixelated. Congratulations, big fella.
Yeah.
Let
Someone
me
pointed
ask-
out I'm wearing
Hang on.
shoes there too. I'm not even naked.
This is another picture he sent us. Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park. I'm
Family.
assuming that's where you are.
Yeah, so that's the park, and that's just the sign that sits out in front of the office, and it's kind of
What
a
do you
little bit of
do
a
there?
tradition.
You work there now.
So I work here. So I do a couple of things. My official title is maintenance. So whether it be, changing garbages or working security on a long weekend, or delivering firewood to people, or checking the pool chemicals, like what have you, right? Just general keep the park running kind of stuff. On top of that, I do some DJing here. I do a lot of techie stuff. So I've just rewired the whole park with a new announcement. Like we have an announcement system for, bad weather and
It's like a
different
kibbutz.
events and stuff.
It's like a
that.
Jewish kibbutz. Like it's like a community where everybody kind of pitches in. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. This is another picture of some of your friends.
So this is me doing
podcast.
This is me doing some video work.
Okay.
So I've shot a couple of videos, been a part of a couple of video projects with the park now. This is one that we haven't completed yet because we got to get a couple more shots. But we shot one, and I think I made an article about it. Well, I'll put it back up on the website. But we shot a video that basically just showcases and answers all the questions that people have for their first visit.
Right.
And it's just two people in a car talking about, what do I do? Well, what if this happens? What if that happens? We stuck it up online back in the summer, and it's got about 3.5 million views. So it's doing pretty well.
It's huge. This is you and a bunch of people and your friends. Everybody's naked,
just
having a good time.
Just having a campfire. It was a particularly.
That's got to be an issue.
Everyone will laugh.
That's not for me.
No,
I don't want to be
no.
the guy in front.
No. But no, you know what? And
White rabbit, white rabbit, white rabbit.
It's funny. Two of those
You guys do
people are
that?
people. Two of those people, the two females, are people I knew before I was a naturist. I knew them from my, my regular life.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like it goes to show that when you approach friendships and you approach social interactions and you don't have these artificial layers, you're not wearing this mask that
Right.
is this is who I want you to think I am. This is the
Got it.
image I want to put out there.
Got it.
You're so much more genuine. You're so much more sincere with each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
friendship-
no, I get it, dude. I
friendship
get
is
it.
Do you guys socialize outside of this? Like, do you hang out during the week? How many people show up for this? Like,
In clothes.
yeah, like what does that look outside of the events? If you call them that?
Sure. So I mean, yes, some of us. I mean, like the park's got close to, and don't quote me on this, but the park's got close to 1,000 members.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Okay.
And then a lot
I was
more.
gonna say
Those
300.
are just members who are wanting, like, who have memberships all the time. But I mean, we're a campground, so people showing up for the weekend, people showing up for a week, people whatever. Like there are literally every summer there'll be thousands of people who visit the park.
I should record a video of me trying to talk my wife into this, where I like fucking try to like
You
sell her
should.
on this.
Yeah, and so
Would she
just
do
like
it?
anywhere else,
she
you
do
No,
it?
have,
not in a million years. No.
No.
That's why it would be funny.
you know,
Do you know
just
why
You
like
get a lot of singles that
And
go
my
there.
wife's
Can
not
singles
approved.
go there to pick up?
not to
allowed?
pick up, not to
I
pick
What
up.
do you mean?
say
What
something
happens if you
serious
go there
and
as a
not take
single
it too.
and a girl likes you or a guy likes you and you hook up? Do you get kicked out of the park?
So I mean, the
Yeah, like
prob-
what if there's a girl there and she really likes shirt cock guy?
Yeah,
then
that's
that's fine. I mean, there's no in theory, if you're a naturist, ideally you're going to want to partner up with someone who is like-minded. So meeting someone at a naturist park is probably it's probably a great thing to have happen. It all just, again, it comes down to creepiness, right? So if
Yeah.
Dean shows up and he thinks this girl's pretty and he goes over and he talks to her and
Not gonna
she's
be a
cool
creep.
with it and they're super happy,
Yeah.
great.
She's
If
like,
Dean
I
goes
love
over
that
and-
dude in the shirt.
If Dean goes over and talks to this girl and then she comes to me and says, look, this silver fox over there is giving me the heebie-jeebies,
Arctic blonde.
then the Arctic blonde
I
is
prefer
out on his
shirt
ass.
cock.
Here's why I can resonate with what you have, and I'm gonna put a military spin on it. As awkward as this may sound. No, I'm serious. I'm not actually making a joke. There are veterans campgrounds that are exclusive to veterans, and the commonality here is like-minded people who enjoy each other's company and can relate to each other outside of external influences. And I don't see any difference between what you have.
No, it's community. It's all
It's
it is.
community
It's just
Probably-
it's people are
Probably a
looking
lot
for a
more
tent.
like
They're
probably a
looking
lot
for a
more-
fucking tent.
probably a lot more poaching and a lot more shooting of like cans and bottles at that.
We bring
campground.
Tannerite, you guys bring
Sunscreen.
Matt-
Tinge of racism.
Lots of sunscreen.
Well, listen, Brady Alashowskis, he is at Brady TV official. How if someone is like, because we got to let you go. If someone wants to, maybe take a turn. Someone's like, I really liked what Brady had to say. I want to challenge myself this year, and I'm feeling a little nude.
Send them a tweet. Like,
How can people get a hold of you?
Well, my home address is no.
No. Don't do that.
Literally at Brady TV official everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Also, Brady TV Games is my second channel. I do gaming because I'm a young adult and I don't want to grow up. I just want to fucking play video games and have people watch it. But yeah, literally just about any social media platform you're on, if you check Brady TV official, that'll be me. And send me a message. If you're a total wanker, you're gonna get blocked. And if you're a genuine, fantastic person, you just want to have a conversation, then
Good for you, Brady.
here to educate.
Good for you.
Brady,
I mean that.
Thanks.
Yeah, man.
I like
Good
this
dude.
fucking kid. You got
He's
awesome.
balls on you. You got
Dude,
balls on
anybody, and apparently a huge hog because he's a
Yeah,
naturist.
huge heater hose on.
yeah,
Good for
yeah.
you.
But no, anybody that's like, hey, this is who I am and I want to be this guy,
Yeah.
I support
Fucking
it
right.
fully. Zero judgment on this side. There's lots of great questions that lead to funny jokes. Sorry if I said
Sure.
shirt cock like
No,
80
no.
times today. I
Shirt cock's
apologize.
still funny.
No, I think
I'll be laughing about that all night.
Yeah,
I think
Can I
on
shirt
Monday,
cock it?
Yeah.
I think on Monday on the show that needs to be your handle. But
Shirt cock.
Shirt cock.
It will
guy.
be. Thanks, Brady. Appreciate you, brother. We'll talk to you
Yeah.
soon.
no problem. Thanks,
He's
guys.
awesome, man.
No problem.
Respect, buddy.
At Brady TV official is where you can find him anywhere. He is such a good kid too. He's hardworking, smart. He's creative. He's always naked. Doesn't give two shits. That's the kind of guy I like. That's the kind of guy I like to work with. A guy that's like, fuck, this is me. Who cares? I like to do work and I love being
Again,
naked.
it's funny because he was doing his spiel about why and sort of the philosophy behind it, and I'm like, holy shit, I say shit like that. I truly believe this. I'll say it again, and I keep repeating this. Figure out who you are. Number 2, get comfortable with that person. Number 3, stop fucking worrying about what other people are
And Locke
doing.
preaches that.
And we
I-
solve every problem on the planet. I don't care. You will never convince me otherwise. Figure out who you are. Start being comfortable with that person. Stop fucking worrying about what other people are doing.
I am
Done.
most certainly perceived as the antithesis of everything he's doing. That would be the perception as a short-haired white guy that wears camouflage and drives a pickup truck and drinks Pilsner. That's ex-military. You would think that I would be fucking completely horrified by what he's doing, but I'm not. And here's why: because this guy, you heard him. His first day going up, he's like, "What the fuck am I doing?" And he found a space that is most certainly probably not mine per se, that he's comfortable in. It's good for his mental health. He's surrounded by like-minded people that he's aligned with, and he's happy there. So why anybody would shit on them? Fuck you. That guy's doing something good for him, and so are the other 1,000 people that are doing it. So just because it's not your norm doesn't mean it's a
And
bad
it doesn't
thing.
have to be your norm. You
Exactly.
don't even have
Exactly.
to get it. You don't even have
100%.
to understand it. The fact that he has found his fucking community.
Yeah, man, 100%.
And it works for him. That's it. And you know what, Army Chris? Listen, I mean, say what you will about you have a very sort of unique. Like if somebody met you, they would immediately put you in a box. You have more than anybody I've ever met. convince
I
me
like to
that,
play with that. I
can't.
like people to put me in a box and assume I'm X when they don't know me, and you know me because you've known me for 5 years.
Yeah, you're not that guy.
No.
You're an exception to all those rules.
And I
Yeah,
res- I
like,
res-
dude,
I
I'm
respect what that
shocked.
guy's doing.
I'm shocked. Like, there's days where I'm like, I'm fucking shocked that Chris is so on side, because during that whole Ottawa convoy, there were a lot of ex-military dudes, and you know this. I mean, there's a
Oh,
ton of
yeah.
ex-military dudes who hate this country, think they got taken advantage of. Good chance they probably did.
They're angry.
Who've gone all the way over there. And what amazes me about you all the time is, I mean, those are all your people, but you have a completely different set of rules for your life. You like people. You want people to have good days. You encourage people to be themselves. Doesn't happen very often. Like, there aren't many ex-military guys that have gone through the fucking gauntlet that you've gone through who have that kind of mentality, which is like, hey, listen, Brady's my guy. I don't care what he does. Anybody that can live like that is happy, right?
Well, and Army
yeah.
Chris also can have a conversation with anybody from any perspective in life, and find common ground. Like, that's the thing, and that's why we're friends. That's why Army Chris and I are friends.
Yeah, because myself and Lochlin, when you talk about political alignment, not that that's the entire thing, is we both try to stay centered, right? I always look at every aspect of every scenario, and this is a military thing. So when you see right-wing Army guys, and I've seen a lot of right-wing Army guys, I look at those guys and go, you were never in a fucking leadership role, or your perception is skewed on what you were doing. You need to make critical decisions that can impact human life and look at collateral damage. Like, there's so many factors in a combat situation or whatever it might be. You need to be fucking centered. I've always told people, I used to ask the troops, do you hate the enemy? Yeah, we hate him. I said, get rid of that emotion. There's no room for love, hate, or left, right, if you will, to transcend the conversation into sound decision making. Stop, think, fucking act. You know, so when I see that shit, Brady, you would think the stereotypes, the guys that would put me in the box that Locke's talking about, would say, I'm against this guy. He's fucked. They're a bunch of pedophiles that are having orgies. Look, no. I'm looking at what he's doing and comparing it, like I said earlier, to veterans initiatives they're a little different, but it's the same thing. It's about a group of people, of like-minded people, about community who are comfortable.
Everybody's looking for.
Fuck yeah, they've created a comfortable space and they're good there. So why would anybody fuck with that? Is beyond.
You just need to find your group, man. Like, and everybody is seeking that, and that's why we have, and it can get you in trouble. It can get you in trouble. You can be drawn into an organization, a group, a crowd that gets you, that has the wrong ideas, and you can end up being part of a situation that you didn't want to be a part of, based on your need for.
And I look at that.
Everybody has that.
To feel wanted.
Young man with a giant hammer that he has, and we all know it, even though he downplays it. And say that kid's happy. Good for him. Good for him.
He had cock humility, didn't he? He had cock humility.
He did.
I like guys like that. I got a lot of cock humility.
You saw the amount of pixels that went down his leg in that one picture. That tells me how big his fucking hammer is.
You bring up a good point, the community point, Locke. That's a fucking great point. Same with you, Chris. And we watch people give it away, right? I said this to my kid this morning. I'm like, hey, listen, don't give away your nature for culture. I said that to Chris when we were talking prior to this, is that, who you are is who you are. And we spend so much time going and looking for like different groups to be part of because we're lonely, sad, all that other shit. But there's going to be a point where you're going to sit there and go, this is not what I wanted. Case in point, did you guys see Krista Ford's in Instagram post today? This is the daughter of Doug Ford. This is the chick who was like balls out into QAnon.
She's anti-vaxxer. She's pro-convoy.
This chick, she went and she was part of the convoy, total QAnon, absolute anti-vaxxer. You guys know that, right? Like, we've talked about that 100 times. I've got tons of receipts of her saying, I fucking hate vaccines, like this one where she had a video that said, people behind this wall will be accountable. God wins. Evil doesn't win. That's after the vaccine mandates, and she's totally unvaccinated. Her husband, H-Train, Ernie, he's unvaccinated cop, had to quit his job because of it. Then she put this up. Doug Ford's childless daughter just posted an anti-vax manifesto demanding everyone mind their own business while telling parents not to vaccinate their kids. Said it would kill them. It's another one. Premier Doug Ford's very angry anti-vax daughter just likened vaccine mandates to being enslaved, which she did. So something fucking fascinating app today because she was part of that community, that one community that we talk about, the people that are alt-right, always angry, fucking hate the world, government doesn't do anything for me, I'm a victim. She was part of that crew and crucified her dad over the past year for his involvement in actually anything to do with science, which he also fucking hates, by the way. But she put this fucking Instagram post up today. Tell me if you think Dougie and her had a heart-to-heart. Read this. First 3 months of data they tried holding for 70 plus years. This is about the Pfizer vaccine. Just don't pay attention to the first sentence. Doesn't matter. She's disqualifying what she's going to say in the rest of the IG post. She says, I can see why they'd want to keep that information from children. Let's make this very clear. I am not anti-vax.
Wow. Oh, please go on.
I'm a concerned citizen, a citizen who wants all the information before doing something. I'm pro-informed choice and anti-dishonest coercion. These are big words for a girl who has no idea what they mean. Then she says, watch this. So she's also now she's pro-vax. Now she's all into the vaccines, despite probably helping a bunch of people help themselves to death over the past couple of years because of her bullshit stance. Whatever. Then she says, I encourage you to have a conversation that matters, and please have forgiveness in your hearts. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgotten. Take this opportunity as a learning point. Dig deeper and become a better human out of this terrible, terrible fucking mess. She was driving around for the month of fucking February as part of this convoy all over the fucking country. She has put up no fewer than, that we've documented, 100 in the last year. Anti-vax, don't get your kids vaccinated. It'll kill your kids. It'll kill my husband quit it. Her husband quit his $140,000 a year sergeant cop job in Toronto because he wouldn't get vaccinated. Today, guys, she's pro-vax, by the way. She's wanted to make it very clear. And she also would like forgiveness at this point. Question.
Do you think Doug cut her out of the will, Dean?
Yeah. I like reading between the lines. That's
fucking unbelievable
seems,
to me.
to me, it seems a little rehearsed, a little too
Bit scripted, if you will.
ambiguous. It seems a little like she can hide behind that, and her. I don't think she's come out of the closet.
Listen, even
she hasn't turned a corner. She still believes. She still has the belief structure she has. She's just trying to get people on board with what she's done
for her dad's election
and how she's committed.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. And I think you're right. I think her father or somebody in the organization said, you need to get fucking her shit dealt with now. She is doing damage to you. You have to fucking go to the fucking polls here in September. And that fucking shit's gonna keep you out of office.
Election year,
crush
right?
him. Yeah, 3 months.
Year in Ontario. Yeah.
Yep.
6 months. He's reeling in his family. He's tying up loose ends right now. That has nothing to do with her deciding that she's changed her mind. That has everything to do with she needs to get on board, or dad's not going to have that gig in the fall.
Bingo.
Right.
So there was a fucking come to Jesus conversation on the weekend.
Yeah, because when you read that again and you go through it, she first of all hedges the entire fucking IG post on bad data. Like, and then she goes and says she's pro-vaccine, and then says, I just wanted informed consent, which everybody fucking had. You dumb fuck. If you can't comprehend it, it doesn't mean the information you can't receive is your fault because you are that stupid. But to Lachlan's point, I know that to be true, is the administration asked Doug to go and deal with her daughter because she is going to kill him in election time. And this was the best she could do. She's not pro-vax.
Bad data reads science. Like, fuck, man. What are you talking about? Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it is. They finally said, that's enough of your shit. If you want the old man to have a chance, you better shut the fuck up.
I find it weird, though, if you look at the top of it where you see all the 85%, 948. Look at, she's on 5G. I thought these guys were against 5G. I totally thought they were against.
I wonder if Dougie's going to come out tomorrow. When was this, today?
Yeah, this is
I wonder if he's going to come out on Monday and like echo this.
No, No, he will. He'll ignore this. He won't even touch on this. All this is just for the sake of anybody like us that's been highlighting this shit. And the problem is you live in a world right now where it isn't the be all end all. The 5 o'clock news doesn't dictate policy anymore.
By the way, that's this story, along with the $5.5 billion that we talked about yesterday that he stole, nowhere to be found on any major news outlet
because he shut it down because he crushed it.
How's
because
he doing in the polls?
He has press.
Good. Is he?
Yeah. Well, I mean, neck and neck with the liberals, and the liberals are just bullshit anyway. But I mean, it's all. I don't even care to talk about that part of it. The intention is the whole fucking conversation, right? What was the intention of that? Like, she's got thousands of IG posts saying, "Fuck science, it's all about Jesus Christ," and then here she is going, "Love vaccines, it's all good." Hey, by the way, forgiveness. It's forgiveness season, everybody. Forgive me in case I upset you. She was part of the fucking insurrection. The premier's daughter.
Dean, do you think she's fucked now? Like her credibility's in the shitter?
Totally. Okay. But you know, it's like she was
credibility to begin with.
Exactly.
All she was doing was just. It didn't even have any. Who is she?
The lingerie football player. That was her claim to fame.
The fucking Kardashians had no credibility either. Look where they are now.
Chris, it's like me going on fucking social media and giving people medical advice. Like,
well, you do that actually every day, but anyway.
I do it to be funny.
I know, but there's fucking stupid people that believe what you say.
Yeah, no, there's not. There's nobody.
Oh, come on. Okay, let's talk about the blind pig and how many of those guys were going to go get gout tests after what you were talking about when we were down there.
I diagnosed half the bar with gout.
You got to hear this story. Now, go on. It's your fucking story.
Did you get beat up? Is that one of those nights you got arrested? No.
Yes. Gout.
Tell the story. Because I know
I don't care.
We got tested for gout after we were drinking in a shithole bar, which was demoed a week later.
We went to the Blind Pig because I had never been, and they were going to tear it down. And we spent an afternoon, and when we go into a bar, we kind of take it over. So I ended up talking to a lot of the regulars there, and some guy ended up complaining about a sore toe. And so I was like, "You got gout." And then that just progressed to a conversation with the rest of the staff about the fact that they all had gout as well. So that's about as much as we need. I do believe
Lochlin was convinced I had gout and made me go to my first medical appointment in 10 years. We had a bet going, I think.
You had a big swollen toe, and I'm like, "You've got gout."
I fucked it up fixing my washing machine, and he jumps to, "You have gout," and it turned into a bit. So anyway,
Locke likes to tell everybody what they got. Like that's the most amazing part about Lochlin. He'll walk up to you and be, "Hey man," you go, "No, your breath smells."
I go to the fucking doctor, and I actually video recorded it, and he thought I had a fucking toaster for a head, saying, "I need you." I pull up my camera, record this, and I said, "You need to say Chris doesn't have gout," and he thinks I'm fucked, so he does it. And then we're in this fucking bar, and he's still on me about gout, and all these old guys that are in there
were telling me about their.
They're like, "My toe's sore, my fucking." And
well, there was one guy was limping to the shitter.
And I promise you, they all went down to get gout tested the next day.
Yeah, this is one of those stories that, like, when you're not 8 beers in, you're like, probably don't tell that story. But when you're 8 beers in, you're like, tell that story.
I knew not to tell it. I knew it was a good idea.
You started it. But he made you tell it. Last thing I have for you, Locke, I got bad news. Then we'll let you go. Read a couple reports today. Coronavirus infects the tissue
for fuck's sakes,
in the male genital tract. Pneumococcal research. That's funny. Suggested symptoms like erectile dysfunction reported from COVID-19 patients may be caused directly by the virus, not the inflammation. Can you believe that?
Who said this?
This is like COVID.
Dude, Everything.
There's a new report that said COVID doesn't cause inflammation that attacks your dick. It attacks your dick if you're not vaccinated. That's what that says. And then, sorry about the picture, fellas. That's a small hammer, isn't it?
I have had this sent to me
He's
about
not going
30
to nuke
times.
Tony.
And
30 times.
my friend Dr. Eric Topol, who's a researcher at Scripps, great guy, how COVID infects the male genital tract, whole body in human primates. You get erectile
Prostate.
dysfunction.
Yeah.
Here's what it does. It wraps itself around your tubes. Then you get fucked. That's what it
Is
does.
this-
Those red spots, that's COVID literally attacking the penis, the urinary tract,
Yeah.
the prostate,
It's
and the
all
testes.
dick-related. This is
And-
all Mother Nature trying to fucking call the human race. This is
legit.
Yeah.
This is legit.
Yeah.
So if you're
the
not
other thing-
vaccinated, that's my point. If you're still not vaccinated, gentlemen, do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
Get vaccinated, not
Or
for you
don't. Or
your
don't.
wife.
You might
Or
be
don't.
doing mankind a
You
a
might,
favor.
the trailer parks might be shrinking a little bit.
I'm okay with your decision not to get vaccinated.
Yeah,
Like my assumption was Pfizer, who produces a vaccine, who
No,
also
dude,
happens to produce.
dude.
I don't know.
A
Viagra.
year into this now, for a year,
No, it's a legit
once a
study.
week, I have
Yeah.
seen dick-related COVID shit. Like it has been constant. It has been
Nonstop.
constant. It is part of the plan. It's part of Mother Nature's plan to fucking to slow down the
Totally agree.
yeah.
I
it's
think
what it is.
you're right. I think Mother Nature is like she's been watching everybody, specifically those fucking lunatics who are in Ottawa, and she's like, I need to take out their junk.
Yeah.
And I got to target it now.
Yeah.
And
That's
is
why
what's
we
going
shouldn't be
on.
mad by
Is
what
there,
happened. Because
I'm
all they did was wave a
excited.
flag.
I'm excited by this
Hang on.
news that
Dean, is there any-
unvaccinated guys get their dicks attacked legitimately
data?
by the virus.
Is there
What?
any data on how many COVID cases came out of that fucking freedom rally?
There
None
was
of them would admit it. They would
No,
just
they-
say they have a flu.
No, it
Yeah.
would be
Right?
skewed for
and
sure.
then they'll try to buy Viagra for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I
mean,
read a
there's-
report that said like 20% of the people that were there probably contracted it.
probably
I don't
right,
know
yeah.
if there was any death. They didn't really talk about that because everybody was like, "Oh, they died." Whatever.
His buddy slumped over in a hot tub, bobbing around.
Yeah.
Another
Oh,
guy's
they're
in a bouncy castle. Whatever. Okay.
Whatever. Yeah, they're just here,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, no numbers. But anyway, fascinating stuff. So protect your dick, fellas. Locke, thanks for doing this today, brother. Really appreciate it.
That was a good one.
At Lochlin Cross on Twitter. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Great Friday show. And thanks to Brady for joining us at Brady TV Officials, where you can find him at Lochlin Cross on Twitter, is where you can find Locke, 95.7 Cruise FM, mornings in Edmonton. That's Army Chris, Fire for Effect, the podcast. Did a wonderful job
Live on
kind of.
Wednesdays.
Yeah, live on Wednesdays. Yep, that's when Chris is. And go and download his podcast anywhere you get your fine podcast. But I really appreciate you doing duty this week and kind of explaining warfare to us and kind of keeping us
Are
up
you
to date.
away
I know
next
it's
week,
a heavy
Army
thing
Chris?
to get into.
I'm away.
Okay.
All right.
Is there any chance you can jump on if shit goes to fuck and we need you?
I probably can.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep.
I know the guy I work with. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You know what it is? He's going away next week, but he's going to a place where they party harder there than they do here. So it depends.
He'll be
on-
fine.
I'm going to fucking Kitimat, BC. It's the new.
Oh,
it's
are you
the
really?
new Mac.
Oh, okay, good. Well, look forward to it. Chris, have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. You have a great
Thanks.
weekend.
You
Thanks
too. Thanks a lot.
listening.
Yeah, you betcha. Thanks, buddy. Talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody, for being a part of the show. Really appreciate it today. Thank you. Don't forget, you can sign up for our newsletter at deanblundell.com, and that is where you can find pretty much everything we do. If you're listening to this in an audio version, Apple, iTunes, Google, etc., Spotify, what you can do is go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dean Blundell Show on YouTube. You can also go to Twitch, Dean Blundell TV on Twitch. Having said that, this is always a good thing, too. At it's Dean Blundell on Twitter, and D Blundell Show on Twitter. Just Google my name. You'll be able to find it. But anyway, appreciate everybody for joining us this week. Really appreciate it. Sorry when to get to Randy Hillier. That'll be Monday. What a day he had yesterday. Hi, Randy. Anyway, thanks to our sponsors, Easy Auto Financial, for making this possible. Easy Auto Financial, putting you in a car, getting you financing when no one else will give it to you. Bad credit, no credit, they don't care. They just get you the car that you want. It's all turnkey, and you don't got to pay for a dime. The financing is free. Go to easyautofinancial.ca today and check them out. No obligation. Sign up. Also, our friends at Domination are guys that help guys like you and me do content, gaming, streaming, etc. Go to domination.com, dmntn.com. Try them for free today. It's AI for people that produce content. Super easy to use, fun to try. It'll save you hours, legitimately. It'll save your life. Try them today, dmntn.com. And Ed's Fine Imports and his Gitch, wear them. I'm on my body. They can put them on your body. Luxury boxer briefs, pouch in the front. All your gear goes in there. Wicking is natural. It's the next best thing to being nude. Go to edsfineimports.com. Order his Gitch today. GITCH is your promo code. He'll send you one pair for the price of $0 when you buy 3 pairs or more, plus huge selection of online clothes for girls. Sorry, boys and men and boys. It's like a dude's store. It's unbelievable online store as well. Go to Ed's Fine Imports and check them out today. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.